Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our activation meditation of this beautiful eclipse energy. So I am super excited to be able to be your facilitator tonight for these beautiful energies that we are all working with on every level. So we are going to really be diving in deep to this for tonight. So hello, Miss Shirley on Facebook, and hello, all those that are joining on YouTube. Glad to have you. Glad that you all are here joining us in this beautiful energy. So for today, what we're going to do is first, I want to invite everybody. Hello. Thanks for joining. Thanks for being here. I want to invite everyone to go ahead and get something to write with. So even though, don't worry about missing anything while you're getting that. I'm just going to explain why it's so important for us to really write down what we're going to be working on tonight. So go ahead, go get yourself a piece of paper, something to write with. It doesn't matter what it is, whatever feels good to you. And so the reason that I ask that you write things down is because it's great to know something in your mind, but it's the moment that you write it down that it really becomes real to you, because we all have ideas in our minds of, okay, yeah, this is what something is. And you kind of see it and then it just kind of floats away. But when you write it down, that's when it becomes concrete. That's when it becomes something real that you can really see. So we're going to have to write down 3 different things tonight. And we're going to be using our intuition. We're going to be using our own unique connection to our own divinity within us. And if you're like, oh, I don't have intuition, or I can't do that, release that. Let that be part of this releasing tonight. You can, and you are perfectly capable of doing so. What I tell all of my clients is always, whatever I can do, you can do, and you could probably do better. Like, that's just the truth of it. Anyone can do what I do. I'm not special for being able to do it. Everyone can do what I do. So now that you have your writing utensil and you're ready to write things down, let's go ahead and let's kind of start to tune in there. And I just want to say hello again to everyone who is joining me here on YouTube as well as here on Facebook. I thank you so much for joining me, and I thank you so much for being here. So once again, now that you have your writing utensil, I want you to kind of just put it to the side. And what we're going to do is we're just kind of going to relax just a smidge. We're going to just really bring our awareness from out here in the world. We're going to bring it within ourselves. So that way we can really become focused and we can really become clear channels, because each and every one of us is a channel for the divinity that is within us. All we have to do is tune into it. And that's all we're doing right now. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to, get giant downloads of information, or you have to hear an angelic voice or a big, deep, booming voice that says, I am here and your guide. You don't have to hear any of that. All you're doing is tuning in to your own divinity. You're tuning in to the small, still voice that's always speaking to you. So what I want to invite you to do is I want to invite you to go ahead and just put your hands either over your heart chakra, which is just here in the middle of the chest, or you can put it over your actual physical heart, whatever feels good to you. And what I want you to do is close your eyes, and I want you to follow along with my breathing pattern, okay? And this breathing pattern, actually, we're doing it all through the nose. Now, if you can't do it through your nose because maybe you're feeling congested, that's okay. It's totally fine. Just do the best that you can. And if you can't breathe out your nose because you're afraid, you just can't, that's all right. You can breathe out your mouth. So we're just going to put our hands over, either a hand or both hands, over our heart chakra or heart. And we're going to begin our tuning in process to tuning into the divinity that we are, tuning into that true and authentic self. So on the count of 3, we're all going to take a deep, Slow breath in through the nose. Then we're going to hold it to the count of 3. Then we're going to let it out slowly and completely to the count of 3. What this is actually doing for us is it's actually helping us to calm down the nervous system. That's what that breathing technique is going to help us do. It's going to help us to calm down our nervous system that's been bombarded with information and different energies. And it's going to help us to really come into that small stillness. So let's begin. Ready? 3, 2, and 1. Breathe in slowly and deeply through the nose. Hold it. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to slowly and gently let it out the nose, just as slowly as you can. Okay. Then we're going to take another deep breath in and breathe in. And we're going to hold it. And then we're just going to let it out the nose, just slowly and deeply, just as much as you can. If you can't do it out your nose, that's okay. Do it out your mouth. And again, breathing in through the nose. Slowly and deeply, you're doing great. We're going to hold it. And then we're just going to let it out the nose again. Really, as you're breathing in and out, feel yourself relaxing as you just continue now to just let yourself breathe naturally. Let your breath really guide you and let yourself feel your stomach expand, your lungs expand, and just keeping your eyes closed as you're allowing that to happen. Okay? Beautiful. Now we're going to take one more deep breath in, as deep as you can. And we're just going to hold it. And now we're going to let it out the mouth. We're going to let out that ha sound and just feel yourself completely relax. Every muscle, every tendon. If you have to take another deep breath in and hold it again and let out that ah sound again, feel free. And now what we're going to do is we're now just kind of tuned into that heart space. We're tuned into the truth of who we are, because the truth of who we are is love. And we have all placed the loving consciousness within this construct of the heart. So let us all just come back into that heart space. That's what that ha sound does. It drops you into the heart. All right. So absolutely beautiful job. And so now that we're there, I want you to open up your eyes. You still can focus on your heart, and actually something you can do, even though your eyes are open, just imagine as you're breathing, imagine the breath not going in through the nose and down, but instead imagine the breath going into the heart, expanding it, and then breathing out, and the heart still is just as expanded, okay? So just something you can kind of focus on as we are doing these exercises for today. So this full moon eclipse is really about us stepping into our authenticity, stepping into our prosperity, stepping into all the good things in life. And that's great energy. But here is the caveat to that great energy. There may be some limiting beliefs that stop you from actually having all this beautiful, wonderful, abundance and authenticity and guidance and so forth and so on, that you may not even realize. And the reason that you don't realize it is because it's just like a program that constantly runs. So it's just kind of like background noise, and you're just like, oh, whatever, it is what it is. And that's why I gave you the invitation to get a writing utensil and something to write on, so that you could actually see what that background program that's running is really saying, because we have to begin to question it. So the first thing I want you to do, pick up your writing utensil, pick up your whatever you're going to write on. And what I want to invite you to do is I want to invite you to go ahead and just take another deep breath before we get started. And what I want you to write down is, and you can use your own words or you can use these exact words. It's whatever feels good for you. But you can write down, my belief about living authentically? Just go ahead and write that down. My belief about living authentically, or whatever derivative feels good to you to write down. Okay, now that you've written that down, you can go ahead, just skip a space, maybe put a little star or a little asterisk, a little dot, whatever you want. And what I want you to do, I want you to put that writing utensil down for a moment, and I want you to go back over to putting your hand over either your heart chakra or your physical heart, whichever one you chose before. And I want you to take a deep breath in. I want you to really imagine that breath going through your hand and into your heart. You're dropping in to that authentic space of who you are. Okay? And let's go ahead on the count of 3. We're going to take a big, deep breath in. So ready? 3, 2, and 1. Breathe in. We're going to hold it. We're going to let out the sound. Okay? And we're going to now that we're back into that heart space, we're going to ask ourselves the question. I don't believe I can live authentically because my heart says. And I want you to go ahead and I want you to write down the first thing that comes to your mind, the first impression, the first word, the first picture, the first sensation, whatever that is. And if it's nothing, that's okay. Go ahead and let's think about it for a moment. I can't live authentically because. And then just write down, I would say 1 to 3 reasons why you don't believe you can live authentically. And if you're like, well, I don't know, that's a trick of the ego. The ego, the moment that we start trying to really dissect and look at these belief systems, the ego says, oh, blank mind. I don't know. I don't have any ideas about it. I couldn't tell you what it is. That's where we have to really take that step and say, okay, excuse me, breathing again, letting that breath out and saying, okay, I can't live authentically because, and then you can either say my heart says, or you can just start writing. And that's something else that you can do with this exercise is you can just start some conscious stream writing. Well, I can't live that way. And then just, if nothing comes to your mind, my mind is blank. And my mind is blank because, and just start that. And you'll start to see things begin to really come up for you. Okay? So I'm going to give everyone just a minute or so to go ahead and write that down, however that works for you. And as you are writing it down, what I'm doing is I am sending each and every one of you, regardless if you watch this live or if you are watching this on the recording, if you're watching it on Facebook, if you're watching it on YouTube, Instagram, wherever this may go, and whatever group you all may be sharing it to, just know that as you are writing, I am sending you all my love, and I am asking the angels of peace, serenity, clarity, healing, joy, happiness to descend upon each of you and to surround you in their loving, golden, sapphire, emerald, golden, silver light. And I'm just imagining that each one of you is wrapped also in the divine violet, gold, and silver flame. And it's just helping to remove all these obstacles. It's helping to let go of all these things. So if you see me closing my eyes for a minute, that's just what I'm doing. I'm just imagining that. I'm sending that to each and every one of you. And if something happens like where you're feeling it, great, wonderful. And if you're not, that's okay too. This isn't about judgment. This is about you exploring and being willing to start questioning yourself. And this is really what it's like to work with me in a counseling session that I do. We really get deep into this stuff. And unfortunately, we're in a group, so I can't pick someone individually, but this is just kind of a general overview of how I begin to really assist people in getting past their blocks and really helping them to their highest and fullest potential. So now that you've written that down, whatever those beliefs, whatever those thoughts were that came up, I want you to just kind of read them back to yourself. Okay. And just say, so read the first half of the sentence, read that top prompt, then read the last two prompts. Okay. And as you read those prompts back to yourself, I want you to circle the one that you believe the most, that you are like, that's just the truth. There's no other, I can't see any other way around this. I want you to circle that one, whatever that one may be for you. Okay. And then that's all you have to do. Now we're going to go to our next part in this. Okay. And our next part that we're going to do, we're going to go back into our heart space. But before we do that, I want you to write down this question that you're going to ask yourself. And the question that you are going to be asking yourself for this next round is, I don't believe I can live a prosperous life because. Okay, so go ahead and write that down. All right, now that you've written that down, I want you to go ahead and we're going to go back to our heart space. We're going to go right back. And we're going to, once again, we're going to take another deep breath in, deeply, calmly. This isn't about rushing. This is just about getting back into that heart space, okay? So here we go. 1, 2, and 3. Breathe in slowly, deeply, and completely, filling that diaphragm. Holding it. And then we're just letting out the ha sound. Okay, and we're going to do that one more time. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Breathing in slowly, deeply, and completely. Okay, holding it. And then just letting it out the mouth. No ah sound on that one, just letting it out. And then we're going to do it one more time. Another deep breath in. 3, 2, and 1. Breathe in. We're going to hold it. And now we're going to let out the ha sound. And I want you to go back to that question. And I want you to ask yourself again the same question. I don't believe I can live a prosperous life because my heart says. And then you can say the first thing that comes to your mind, the first thing that picture, word, phrase, whatever it may be, let it come to you, or you can just consciously write. So the reason I use the word because is that it gives us that invitation to begin to question, because we don't really question all that often. We just kind of accept thoughts as they are. So we have to really begin that process of questioning. Oh, hey, Debbie. Thanks for joining. Thanks for being here. So that is that's what we're going to do. So that's why I use the word because. So always, always ask yourself, I believe that this is happening because. Or you can ask yourself another great question, which I've shared before. And the other question that I've shared before is, what must I believe in order for this to be happening? And for those of you here on Facebook as well as on YouTube, if you see me staring at one point and not at another, it's just because I'm looking at the other camera. So I just wanted to let everyone know that's what was happening. So yeah, so you guys write that down. And like I said, this is where I'm imagining and I am bringing in that golden silver flame and violet flame, and I'm bringing in the angels of peace, serenity, clarity, healing, transformation, and I'm just having them all surround you. And once again, it doesn't matter when you're watching it, how you're watching it. It doesn't matter at all, because the transmission of energy is always available. So as you write, I'm just going to sit here and just send that to each and every one of you. All right. So now that you've written that down, okay, we're going to do the same thing, but I want you to go back. And I actually, as we're doing this one, since this one's a little bit, even though it may not seem like it's a little bit harder, it actually is. And it's not that it's harder, it's just very different to look at it in the way that we're looking at it. So I want you to go back to your heart space. I want you to put your hand back on your heart. And I want you to read your question back to yourself. I don't believe that I can live a prosperous life because then whatever you wrote down, as you have your hand on your heart and you read them back, if you get like a little ping or a little pain, a little tightness, a little tension, whatever that may be, I want you to go ahead and I want you to circle that 1 or that 2 or that 3 or maybe the whole thing. I want you just to really circle that, because what your heart is telling you is that's where you're constricted. That is your limiting belief. And, a lot of us have limiting beliefs. And like I said, we do not question them enough. We don't actually question them at all. It's just background noise that we allow. And what this process is helping us to do is it's helping us to uncover them so that we may release them, so that we can give them over to the divine. Because one thing I've learned from A Course in Miracles, which is just a spiritual tome that I practice and I read from, is that you are not the healer. Your job is only to acknowledge and be willing to look at it and be willing to give it over so that it can be healed for you and through you. That's the only thing that we have to do. I think a lot of times, a lot of us take on that role of the healer, like, I have to heal this. It's my job to heal it. Your job isn't to heal it. Your job is to acknowledge it, realize it, and release it. And that's all we're really doing here tonight. We're acknowledging, we are realizing, and we're going to begin that releasing process. So here is our last question. Okay. And once again, this one kind of encompasses a lot of things for a lot of people. And so we're going to go ahead and we're going to put our hands back on our hearts. And actually, what's going to happen, for those of you that aren't familiar with me or the things that I do a little thing called angelic toning and light language. Light language is only the language of light. It is a transmission of information that I don't necessarily understand, and you may not understand either. But it is a transmission that comes through in tones and frequencies. Those tones and frequencies are for you to be downloaded whenever you're ready for them. And then the angelic toning may sound like a familiar song. It may sound like a song, but once again, I have no idea what it is or what it is saying. It is simply a transmission of information. Sometimes it provides healing. Sometimes it provides illumination. And so for this next part, I really want to begin that activation of certain blueprints within you. And that's what this is going to help us to do. So everyone, just sit back in your chair. If you are wearing headphones, I would recommend that maybe you lower it a smidge. Sometimes the tones get very high pitched and loud. So you might want to turn down those headphones a smidge. All right, so just sit back, relax, and be ready to receive this transmission. Harvaharini Sandaroteama Yenaro Vamaha Gigeshinea Oea matea haruye mataya. Hisetea ma etea maharochea. All right, so that was our light language transmission. Once again, I have no idea what it is or how to really tell you about it. It simply is a transmission from those higher dimensional realms, and it's for you to download in whatever way, shape, or form for you. So, our next part here, the reason that I wanted to do this is because the next question I want you to write down for yourself is, I don't believe I can fulfill my soul's mission and purpose because. Okay, so go ahead and write that down. All right, now that you've written that down, we're going to go back to our heart space. We're going to go ahead on the count of 3. We're taking a big deep breath in. So ready? 1, 2, 3. Big deep breath in. Holding it. And then just letting it out the mouth. Again, 1, 2, 3. Breathing in deeply, slowly, and completely. Holding it. And then just letting it out the mouth again. And last one, 1, 2, and 3. Breathe in. Hold it. And then let it out the mouth, letting out that sound. Okay, and I want you to go back and I want you to read that question to yourself. I don't believe that I can fulfill my soul's mission or purpose because my heart says. And once again, you're writing down whatever is the first image, word, phrase, feeling, sensation, whatever it may be. I want you to go ahead and just write that down. If none of those things are coming to you, that's okay. Do a conscious stream of thought. I don't believe I can fulfill my life's mission and purpose because, and then just start writing down whatever comes to your mind. And remember, if nothing comes to your mind, that's okay. Just write down, my mind is blank. Nothing's coming to me right now. And just whatever other thoughts start to come up, just write those down because the truth is going to come to you. It is going to happen. It's just a matter of if you are willing to just keep questioning, keep going a little bit deeper. Because like I said, when we start doing this, the ego is going to come up and it's going to bucket, and it's going to either make your mind go blank and be like, I don't know. Where maybe 10 minutes ago, you knew exactly what it was. And you're like, oh yeah, I totally know this. But now that you're actually doing this work and you're really looking at it and questioning it, it's almost like that ego mind puts a veil over you and says, nope, not there. No, don't know. And it's not because the ego is a force, and it's not because the ego is a bully. It's not because the ego has any power at all. It's just that we've given a very big voice to the ego, and it speaks first and it speaks loudest. And so when it's not speaking first and loudest, we're kind of like, well, what's happening? Where's the voice? And so it's giving the opportunity for the small, still voice to answer. And once again, just remember that each time I close my eyes or I stop talking, it's just because I'm sending you all that energy that I spoke about before. And the beautiful thing is, if you do feel a presence, if you do the energy, great, wonderful. And if you don't, that's okay too. Please know that the energy is being sent to you and you are receiving it at the level at which you are willing to receive it at, and the amount in which you are willing to receive it at. We are all limitless in our potential to receive as well as to give, because I'm not really giving you my energy. What I'm giving you is the divine essence that flows within each of us. And it's almost like I see myself just kind of lighting you up. And that's all that I'm really doing. I'm not doing anything else. And it's not even me doing it. It is that divine essence that is within each of us and flows through each of us that is doing the activation at the level at which you are willing to receive that. All right, so now that we've written that down, whatever those things may have been, I want you to go back and I want you to put your hand over your heart again. And I want you to read the question back to yourself, okay, however you wrote it. So I'll just say the way that I first stated it. I don't believe I can fulfill my soul's mission and purpose because, and then I want you to read each one of those things that you wrote with your hand over your heart. And if you feel a little ping, a little pang, a little like, ooh, tightness, or like a type of just a feeling in general, I want you to circle that one or that two or the whole page, whatever it is. Okay, I want you to circle that. And you all are doing a great job. And if you're not done yet, that's okay, because you can always go back and watch this again. That's the beauty of YouTube. It's the beauty of Facebook Live, is you can always go back and watch these again. So now what I want you to do is I want you to either turn the page or get a new piece of paper, and I want you to write down the ones that you circled from all three of the things that we just spoke about. So go ahead and write those down, whatever they may be, and however many they may be. All right, and now that you've written those down, and if you're not completely done, that's okay. You can keep on writing, don't worry. What we're going to do now is we are going to kind of join in meditation together. We're going to enter into the space of oneness, into the space of unity consciousness. And that's kind of what our meditation is going to lead us into. And what we're going to be taking with us is we are going to be taking all of these old beliefs and all of this old stuff with us. Now, before we get into that, before we get to that stage, there's something really important we have to do here. We have to look at those reasons that we wrote, and we have to ask ourselves, am I willing to release the value that I have for this belief, whatever it may be? And the best way I can describe that to you is, and this is something I explained this morning on my energy mantra, but let's say that this lavender oil was empty, okay? Let's say it was empty, it had nothing else in it, but I was keeping it. Now, it's just taking up space. It's not serving a purpose. It's not doing anything. It's just kind of background noise. It's just there. Now, I always have a choice. I can either choose to continue just to leave it there and just be like, it is what it is. Or I can say, okay, why haven't I thrown this away? Or why haven't I got rid of this? What do I believe will happen if I do get rid of it? Or what do I believe will happen? Or why am I valuing it so much? Maybe it was a gift from my grandma. And I'm just like, oh my God, I can't throw it away, because if I throw it away, that means I'm throwing away her memory, or I'm throwing away her love, which of course isn't true. The memory and the love are not within the item. The memory and the love exist within me, exist within my mind. That's where the memory is. That's where the love is. This is just a symbol for it. And so when it comes to those thoughts and beliefs that you wrote down, really question yourself. Do I still want to continue to believe this? Does this have to continue to be the way that I am in my life? How attached are you to that belief system, to that way of thinking. Ask yourself that. And, we can look at it through the Toltec tradition. So level 1 of attachment is your authentic self, which is basically, we're going to use a sports analogy, just like the book did, the five levels of attachment, which is written by Don Miguel Luis Jr. Great book, fabulous information, highly suggested. It's free on Audible, so amazing. But anyway, continuing on. So the first level of attachment, we're going to use a soccer game, just like he did in the book. And basically, the first level of attachment / also judgment, because I like to look at attachments as judgments, because all judgments really are when something or someone does not fit your belief system. So you then in turn judge it in order to say, well, this is why you don't fit, which then facilitates separation, which is why we want to steer away from judgment to the best of our ability. So our first level is you can go to any soccer game, anywhere. Doesn't matter where, doesn't matter the stadium. It could literally be like a bunch of kids kicking a can in a field, and you are perfectly fine because you are there for the experience. That's all you're there for. And you're there just enjoying the present moment. The second level of attachment / judgment is personal preference. So you're kind of going, maybe your nephew plays soccer and you're going to go see him. Or maybe, you really like the colors of this one team, or maybe someone on the team, but still, you're there for the experience. If the team wins, it's great. If they don't, that's okay too. You're not going to take it with you. You're just kind of like, it is what it is. Level 3 of judgment and attachment is then where we like to call it, this is where things start getting personal. And so, you're going to this match, or you're going to the soccer game because you support a team and you're like, that's my team. Yeah, those are my guys. You can still connect with other people. You're still fine. If the other team wins, you're upset, but you're not depressed. You're just kind of like, that's okay. And then we go to level 4, which is internalization. And internalization is where we begin to take things to the extreme. And that's where we're like, whatever this thought, belief, person, situation, soccer team is, that is me. That is my identity. We're no longer allowing our knowledge to inform us. We're now saying that knowledge is us, which we don't want to get into, because then that's when we get to the 5th level, which is fanaticism. And you may be like, no, I never get to fanaticism. We're always climbing up and down that ladder of judgment and attachment. So just be willing to realize that, you may be really attached to a certain idea or a certain belief, and that's okay. Today, all you're really doing here is you are acknowledging that there is a belief. You are acknowledging at what level of attachment you have to it. And if you are willing to simply let go of it, even if it's just a little bit, it doesn't have to be the whole belief system. It doesn't have to be the whole thing. Just a little bit is okay. It's the willingness. And remember, you're not the healer. It's not up to you to heal the world. It's not up to you to heal everyone. Your job is simply to be willing to acknowledge, realize, and release. That's it. And whatever level of release you can do, great. So if you're at level, let's say you're at level 4, really, really attached to it. This is who I am. It cannot be any other way. Let's be willing to question that. Let's be willing to say, but does that have to be true? And if you're at level 3 and you want to move to level 2, so we ask ourselves again, does it have to be this way? Then we go from level 2 to level 2 to level 1, which is, do I have to have this personal preference? Like, why do I have this personal preference? And do I really need to keep it? Is it serving me? Is it helping me? And then we, go up to that level 1 where we are free and we are able to just really move through it in a different way. All right. So that was our little spiel about all of that. So now let's move to our final section of tonight. And I thank you all for continuing to still be with me and join me in this, because it's going to be, the more and more people we have, the more and more powerful this is going to be for each of us individually as well as collectively. So go ahead and just close your eyes. And this is not going to be a long meditation. It's not, I promise you. Maybe maximum 10 minutes. That's it. And remember, meditation isn't necessarily just about, having your mind be quiet or having your mind, go completely silent. You can have thoughts. It's just we're going to be leading the mind in a specific direction. So do your best to just stick with us. If your mind starts to wander and go off somewhere else, just come back to the sound of my voice. Come back to that visualization. That's it. So what I want you to first do is we are going to kind of activate our chakra energies. We're going to activate and align ourselves. So what I want you to do is I want you to visualize to the best of your ability. If you can visualize, great. If you can't, that's okay too. Just stick with me here. So what we're going to do is we're going to imagine another you that's right in front of you. Okay, and it looks exactly like you. Do your best to see yourself exactly as you believe yourself to be in every way, shape, and form. And we're just breathing gently, calmly. There's no rush. And then what I want you to imagine is you're looking deeply into that other you's eyes. And as you're doing that, I want you to just visualize this rainbow light coming from your eyes and entering into that other you's eyes. This is your light of consciousness. Now, this is not an out-of-body experience, but an out-of-time and out-of-mind experience, okay? So we're just filling this other you with your consciousness, okay? And then what I want you to just visualize is you see a door in front of this other you. And I want you to just go ahead and close that door for right now. And as you do, I then want you to go ahead and turn to the right in your mind. And I want you to see this beautiful spiral staircase that's pure white. Maybe it's wrought, maybe you see some like wrought iron, or maybe you just see a nice banister, but it's pure white. And I want you to walk over there, and I want you to go ahead and just put your foot on the first step. And as you do, that step turns blood red. And I want you to just see it, touch it, taste it, feel that blood red energy beginning to course through your body. Okay, and then we're going to count to 7, and we're going up these 7 blood red steps. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, now we're going to we step on this landing, and the landing turns a bright orange. And now we're going to do that same thing. We're going to touch it, taste it, feel that orange energy activating within each of us. And we're going to climb up those 7 yellow steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, deep breath. Let it out. And now we're going to go to the yellow landing. It's a beautiful sunshine yellow. And we're going to climb, and I want you to just, as you climb up these 7 sunshine yellow steps, I want you to touch it, taste it, feel it, activating in your body. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. I want you to take another deep breath. This is the half step. This is where we're entering into our higher chakras, our heart chakra. So deep breath in. We're holding it just for a second. We're going to let out the ha sound as we now step on the emerald green laced with pink step. Okay? And we're stepping on that. It's activating. I want you to touch it, taste it, feel it throughout all your body. And we're going to start climbing up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Beautiful. And now we're coming to the sky blue steps. I want you to touch it, taste it, feel it, experience it in your body. Experience that throat chakra activating. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now we are at the 7 indigo steps. This is our third eye. And as we go up these steps, just also kind of see yourself with a broom and kind of brushing it off. Just kind of see yourself doing that. So ready, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Beautiful. And now we're going to come to the violet steps. And I want you to keep that broom with you because we're going to be sweeping this off as well. Actually, really interesting. What I'm seeing in my mind's eye right now is actually we've all got a hose. And as we go up, we're going to be hosing down each one of those steps. Ready? And as we do, it's just going to light up even brighter. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And now we're here at the beautiful rainbow pearlescent steps. And I want you to just walk up those. And as you do, you are being bathed in whatever you may say is your higher power, be that God, source, the universe. You are being bathed in its ever-loving, protective, white light of protection, joy, prosperity, and infinite love. So ready? 1, and I want you to just smile as you're going up these steps. Just even if you're not even feeling happy, put a smile on your face as you're walking up these steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Bathing in your God's ever-loving, protective white light of joy, happiness, protection, love, and infinity. We're going to do a little toning to assist with that. All right, now what I want you to do is I want you to, as we're standing here, I want you to see everyone else. Just imagine hundreds and thousands of other people all standing at the top of their staircases. And what I want you to do is I want you to imagine yourself opening up your chest in the middle, and I want you to imagine, just as you open up your chest, this beautiful dove flies out, and it flies over to the next person and the next person, and each person, it's connecting your heart space to each one of those people. Okay, that's what it's doing. You're being connected to each one of those people. And then what I want you to just imagine is that all of us, all of our heart spaces, all of our energies are coalescing into this beautiful ball of beautiful golden light. Okay? And we're all connected. We're all one here. Sarvarishna Haravotea Maharia, Ukena Harieshne Ravahariama, Itikishna Haravotea Mahara, Yasahari Uchea Maha. And as we are all connected in this space, I want you to take those thoughts, those beliefs that you have about not being able to live a prosperous life, not being able to live your soul's mission, not being able to live authentically, not being able to live as the true and authentic you that you are. Yes, I wish that you take those. And I want you to place them in the middle, in that light. There's plenty of room for all of them, for all of us, for each one of us that places it within the light willingly, does it for all of us, yes. For we are one in consciousness and in love. Place all of your fears, beloveds, no matter what they are, place them within the light of our unity consciousness, within our oneness. Now, see that light as a golden flame, turning now to white, for this is the flame of freedom. It is freeing each of us who is willing to let go of these beliefs in whatever way, shape, or form, and see the white light of freedom connecting to you and enveloping your whole entire being. Freeing you of all negative and outworn energies, entities, belief systems, psychic parasites, and earthbound attachments that no longer positively serve you, beloved ones. See each of you bathed also in the golden light of your source energy, cleansing you, clearing you at the deepest level you will allow. Now, as a unity consciousness, we place this light and it begins to rise and rise and rise until it reaches what we see in the sky as a wormhole, a corridor into the future. And we place this ball, our unity consciousness, free consciousness, into that wormhole, activating, taking us in to and through these eclipse energies. It does not mean that challenges will not arise, beloveds. It does not mean that your consciousness will not still project that which you have placed within this orb. But it does mean that you now have the ability to look at it and refute it and come back to this space of freedom that you feel now, so that you can remember that you are free. You are free to choose to be bounded by your limitations or to be boundless. You are a boundless being playing in the field of boundless infinite consciousness. That which you see with your eyes merely reports back what you believe. So if you do not like what you are seeing, ask yourself, what must I believe in order for this to be happening? And am I willing to forgive myself for it? Now, beloveds, see all that unity and consciousness, and thank all who have been here with us, all within the physical and the non-physical, within all dimensions, time streams, and realities, for their assistance in this endeavor of propelling us forward into the highest version of ourselves. We thank you. We send all gratitude to each and every one of us, through all dimensions, time streams, and realities, for the divine highest good of all. We now release this consciousness, even though it is only a symbol of the release. We are using it as that symbolism to release ourselves from that unity consciousness only as a symbol, for we are always connected to it. We are always one. We are always together. But what we are doing for this process is returning us back to what we believe is our own separate mind. Yes. So now we ask that you still bathe yourself in your God's ever-loving, protective white light, and descend down the rainbow pearlescent steps, walking down the violet steps, walking down the violet or the indigo steps, and down the sky blue steps, down the emerald green laced with pink steps, down the sunshine yellow steps, down the orange steps, and down the blood red steps, back to the door that we now invite you to open. And as you do, you see your other self standing there, and you look deeply into that other you's eyes, and your consciousness begins to flood back into that other you. Yes. Filling this other you. And we are going to leave this door open for now. Actually, we would invite you, if you feel comfortable, to leave it open, perhaps a crack, so that you may come back to that space if you so desire, or you may close the door if you so wish. It is your choice. It does not matter either way. If you feel better closing the door, then you may close it. If you feel better keeping it open, then you may keep it open. Remember, you are always bathed in your Creator's ever-loving, protective light. And you may now wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, and return back to consciousness by opening your eyes and simply moving around. The channel will be back shortly. Please hold. All right. So that was today's meditation. If you feel like you would like to write about what you experienced or the energies that you felt or the visions or whatever, that's great and wonderful. And if you don't, that's all right too. I thank you all for joining me in uplifting our consciousness and helping us all to walk through this corridor of great transformation. And the one invitation I want to give you is take one bite-sized step towards a new way of being, okay? Take one bite-sized step towards a new way of being, towards your authenticity, towards your joy, towards your prosperity, whatever that may be. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here. And I send you all of my love.